Yep. Can start.
Also, Shalom. Was it summer?
Baruch Hashem.
From the Siman Shin Ches Seif Lametes. Also, Talto Behema V'Chayev Ha'oif. You're now allowed to move a Behema Chayev Ha'oif. Ba'afa Pikein. Mutter L'Chapas is a sal of Nei Afroichem. You're allowed to turn over a basket in front of chickens. Kadei Shiyalu V'Yedu Boy. They should be able to use it as a step stool to go up and down. But while they're on the sal on top of the basket, you're not allowed to move the basket because the basket is muktzah because of the chickens that are on top of the basket.
But so Mutter L'Chapas is Erev Shabbos.
Even on Shabbos.
Pardon? Even on Shabbos?
Even on Shabbos. We'll see in a second why. Why is it mutter even on Shabbos? So, what's the reason why it's also a taltal behema v'chayev ha'oif? You're not allowed to move them, an animal, a wild animal, or a bird. You're not allowed to move them on Shabbos. They're muktzah. Why are they muktzah? So if we look at the Mishnah Berurah over here, Siv Katan and Kuf Mem Vav, also a taltaloi. What's the reason why you're not allowed to move them? Theheim b'chlal muktzah k'eitzim v'avonim d'haloi chazi. They're muktzah like eitzim v'avonim. Now, if you remember, there's different types of muktzahs. There's certain things that are a kli, and it's a kli that is muktzah. Kli shemachtal iser, muktzah mach kiss. Then you have something that's muktzah because it's nothing. It's not even a sham kli, k'eitzim v'avonim. Not set aside for any usage. So those things are muktzah machmas gufay. So the Mishnah Berurah says over here that behemoths, chayes v'oifes, animals are muktzah machmas gufay. They have no use. Says the Mishnah Berurah over here, afilu yochel hagia lehefser al yadam kegoyin she'oy pareach agabe hakelim yochel l'shabram. You have a bird flying around your house and it can knock over kelim. Afilu hachi also l'toifsam yadayim. You're not allowed to touch them with your hands, grab them with your hands. Afilu and murga b'bayis mikvar where there's no problem of tzeda. Kimavoyed simishin tazayin. Afilu hachi litlam yadayim also mishum muktzah. It's also because of muktzah. You should try to sush them, whatever you want to do. Yeah.
Can you chase them away?
You can chase them away as long as you don't touch them. The Isser Tiltal Muktzah who are filled with Mokam Hefsid. So that's the klal over here.
If they break, no matter.
Even if they're breaking something, it's a Hefsid. The Isser Tiltal Muktzah is even if you end up having a Hefsid.
Yeah.
We don't say B'Mokam Hefsid, but Matan Isser to the bottom of Tiltal, we don't say that. So if something's flying around, it's also to grab it with your hands because of muktzah.
Could you extend that to other like tzirufim that we sometimes use, like Bakum Mitzvah or let's say Shabbos?
Could be, yeah.
Like
Hefsid, yeah, maybe, yeah, but not B'Mokam Hefsid. Hefsid itself is not a reason.
But other ones might be.
Yeah, other reasons might be, yeah.
Just because Hefsid is not
correct.
a reason, other ones are not.
Correct. We're not matin Isser D'Rabbanan B'Mokam Hefsid. So this is it's a D'Rabbanan. Right, so that's the Mishnah Berurah over here. Now, what's the Isser? It's Muktzah Machmas Gufay. It's Eitzim Avana because it has no use. And the question comes of Balachayim that we do use them. Set them aside. The Noid, the place we speak about. Sometimes you have animals, pets in your house, you play with them. You buy them to play with them.
So seeing eye dog.
A seeing eye dog. Seeing eye dog we'll get to in a second. That's more of a kula. But let's just talk about pets in the house. People have pets. They have little guinea pigs, whatever you want to call them, or rabbits, and these type of things they have in the house, where you buy them to play with them. So you set them aside to play with them. So why is it like Eitzim Avonim? But Eitzim Avonim, the halacha is it's muktzah because you didn't set it aside. These you set aside to use them. So if you have regular animals that you're growing, I don't know, you have cows and stuff like that in in your barn, those things you didn't set aside to use them. You're just taking the milk from them.
Yeah.
But if you're using them to plow, whatever it is, here you set them aside to play with them. So what can you play with them on Shabbos? So the person can say that something that's a Baal Chai, it's a living creature, you can't set it aside to play with it. It has its own life. A thing that has its own life, you can't say the usage of this thing is to play with it. It's not what it's meant for. Even though you're playing with it, something that has a life in itself, you can't say this thing is set aside to play with. It doesn't work. Eitz Avanim, you take a Eitz Avanim, you set it aside for a usage. So now this thing, what's it here for? This Eitz Avanim is meant to hold my door open. That's what it's about. This stone is about what? Hold my door open. A balachayim, you can't say that. You can't say in a rabbit, what's this rabbit? To play with. It's not true. A rabbit is a rabbit. It's a balachai. It has its own life. It does its own things. You can't say it's set aside to play with.
But if you take a rock and you set it like that, like what you say,
right? It is because
balachai, you're not sure what that is because you want to play with it. Doesn't mean it wants to play with you, and it doesn't.
Or more than that, you can't say it's here to play with. A balachai is a living creature in itself. You can't set it aside to play. It's not what it is. It's not meant to play. Maybe you want to use it to play.
Maybe even though.
But you can't say the Baal Chai is around here. Now, it is. What's the Baal Chai? It's a toy. Yeah. It's not a toy. Baal Chai has its own life by itself. Even because you want to use it for a toy, it doesn't make it that now this thing is a toy.
But if you
In an aquarium with fish.
Aquarium, we'll get to in a second. Yeah, we'll get to the aquarium in a second.
If you change it from toy and play to something which has a little bit more of a use, right?
What type of use? Like what?
So let's say somebody either needs, let's say a troubled teenager needs it for companionship, and this is the way that they.
Even so, you can't say.
It's prescribed literally.
Yeah. So the truth is, they say by the seeing eye dogs, they're more makel. There's more makel, which it's hard. It's not so simple. Because even then they say now its usage is to help the person see. That's what it's here for. The point when they say that about Chai, see there's two ways of looking at it. You could say that a Baal Chai has a life in itself, and therefore when you set it aside for a toy, you can't make it a toy, it's a living creature in itself. Or you can say a little different lashon. The little different lashon is that your toy doesn't override its life. It's a little different. That means it's so insignificant to the life of the Baal Chai that you can't override it by saying, "Oh, I'm using it for a toy," so that overrides the main usage. We had before, you have certain kalim that are meant for a certain usage. You want to change the usage to something else? It's not so simple how you change the usage. So the reason why a toy is not enough, because it's not significant enough to make it from a Baal Chai into a toy. If that's the case, then maybe a seeing eye dog or something that helps a person, like you said, a companionship. Maybe that's different. But if you say the reason is
maybe it's
for chayla, yeah, for a person who can't see.
No,
so that's
the same, but
person is for companionship.
It helps him.
It helps him. Yeah. So then it could be that if you say like the second reason we said that I can't override that it's a Baal Chai, maybe certain things that are so important that they're helping a human being to walk or to see, and helping somebody with companionship, maybe that will override the Baal Chai. But if you say that something that's a Baal Chai has its own life, you can't take that away from it. That's what it's for. That even if you want to use it for a seeing eye dog, you can't override that. Depends how you say it. I know the person are maker by seeing eye dog, and the truth is, even a seeing eye dog, there's no reason why you have to be metaltal it. We'll see in the next step. Metaltal means you're picking up the animal.
That's metaltal you.
That's metaltal. It's metaltal you. You're doing it. You're holding. It's showing you how to go. You don't have to metaltal the seeing eye dog.
He said he uses lashon of by seeing eye dog. That's why he wants it. Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach wants to say it's okay.
Is it shimushel?
The shimushel tiltul.
What does that mean?
I guess it has a purpose. It has a function.
It's meant to be metaltal.
Yeah.
A toy also was not meant to be metaltal.
So the other thing was, can you pet an animal.
Okay, so we'll get to the next Seif. Petting an animal, we'll get to the next Seif. Petting an animal, so you're not moving it. It's a total.
Correct.
So we'll see in the next
Not
Seif.
moving it.
Yeah, we'll see in the next Seif. That's what
we
Seif.
say Visaya or the baby. We can, so we use it in a certain way. Not that we move them around. Let's say you push them or you think it.
Yeah, so we'll see the next Seif. You're not pushing an animal. These things we'll see in a second. Now we're talking about this Seif. So far, all we spoke about was lifting an animal.
Lifting it.
Is there any
lifting.
Lifting.
an animal when the animal seems to be
If
like
lifted by itself, then it's there's no
stress.
Yeah, lift by itself is not a problem.
What if the animal's in a
Tzar Balchayim.
temperament, maybe?
Okay, we'll see in that. We'll see in the next Seif. We'll see in the next Seif. So Tiltul.
Everything's in the next Seif.
Always see here is they now that lift the Balchai. We'll see about Tzar Balchai. We'll see about not lifting the whole animal.
You can only
We'll get to the next Seif.
Or what's the next?
You can pick up a goat with Malaka.
So let's see the next Seif right away. Seif Mem. Kol behema chayiv oif medadin oisam b'chatzir. Every behema chayiv oif. We said before you're not allowed to lift them. Medadin means
same like by
you
a
slap
woman.
it.
A
Slap
woman, a
it,
child.
you-
Yeah,
Volkswagen.
yeah, that's right. You're allowed to slap an animal without picking it up.
Yeah.
The chatzir, and the chatzir, we'll see why dafka in the chatzir. The hainu she'oiches b'tzavaron u'b'tztadin u'maylichan. You hold it by its side or by its neck, and you schlep it like a dog on a leash. You're allowed to schlep it. That's mutter. Im tzrichim habalachayim lekach. If the balchay, the animal needs it, or b'vad shleik b'yem b'inyan she'yakru ragleim in the aretz, the muktzim him. V'asal taltlam. So you're allowed to schlep an animal with a leash, let's say, but as long as you don't pick it up. Picking it up is also, that's if
But the
lavatas.
animal itself holding in a certain way, you know that the animal moves is
It's also okay.
But you die.
Yeah, but it's fine, because you're not picking it up.
No, picking
This is
up.
called tiltal b'michtzas. This is called being with taltal or animal b'michtzas. Regular tiltal means you pick up the whole animal. Here we're talking about schlepping the animal, which is a tiltal b'michtzas. A tiltal b'michtzas on a regular muktzah, there's no heter. You're now going to be metaltal animal, any muktzah b'michtzas, a little bit. Meaning you lift up an aver. They bring a raya from a mace, a dead person. You're not going to even move an aver from the mace. You're not picking up the whole thing. You're picking up part of it, part of the dead person. Also, it's aser. That's called tiltal b'michtzas. So here, we'll matter tiltal b'michtzas only in a case of tzar balachayim. So two things we see over here. One thing we see is that it's not tzar balachayim. You're not going to be metaltal b'michtzas. So come out if you want to pet an animal, where you're moving it even b'michtzas is aser, because it's not tzar balachayim. So if you're moving the animal, even moving the ears of the animal, it's called tiltal b'michtzas. So to pet an animal that there's no tzar balachayim will be aser. Why? Because it's a tiltal b'michtzas where there's no tzar balachayim. We're matter tiltal b'michtzas when there is tzar balachayim. Then let's say the animal needs to go on a walk. So then you're allowed to take the animal out for a walk on a leash, and you're allowed to pull it, because that's tiltal b'michtzas. If the animal, like you had a question before, if the animal's in distress and it's stuck somewhere, and you want to get it out, tiltal b'michtzas may be mutter. But to be metaltal legami, the whole animal, we don't find the heter. This whole heter of tzar balachayim is only for a tiltal b'michtzas. But if you have to be metaltal the whole animal, we don't find the heter. It's not the heter.
Let's say you went into a gap and you cannot come out.
You can't lift it up. You could push it, you could pull it if you want a little bit, b'michtzas. But to lift the whole animal, there's no heter by tzar balachayim. We're only matir tiltal b'michtzas.
Just the
Is this
reason why
heter good for taking a dog on a walk for a leash?
Yeah.
Since it's necessary.
Yeah, it's necessary for the dog to get out, so I put it on a leash and pull it even. If you're taking the dog on a walk on a leash and you're not pulling it, there's no issa b'chlal. We're talking about where you're going to pull it, so that's where tiltal b'michtzas. So then there's a heter.
Are you allowed to clean up after it? You know how it's a law now, you have to pick up after the
Because it's graf sharei, it's muktzah. Because it's,
What do you do then?
so if it's a graf sharei, you could do it.
What's that?
A graf sharei,
Oh, so you can use that.
and you can move it, yeah.
So in milking cows on Shabbos,
That's our Baruch Chaim.
If the cow needs it. Yeah, that's Baruch Chaim. That's a total b'miktas. Sometimes different instead of milking a cow because of schita. Dosh. But as a muktzah, if it's a tiltal b'miktas, which that's what it is, you're not moving the whole cow, and it's Baruch Chaim, you have a heter. So this is all mutter by regular animals, and the Mechaber says, chutz mitan negolis, besides chicken, she'ein medaden oisa, you can't schlep it. Mifnei shemegbahas atzum and oret, v'nimtze zem metaltal. They jump up. Chickens, you pull them, they jump up. So when the second they jump up, you're being metaltal. So we don't let you even be medaded it, because it's automatically going to happen that you're going to end up holding it and being metaltal it. You're allowed to push it from behind. You're allowed to push it that should go into the even biyadayim. That should go into the chicken coop. Now, this biyadayim, this thing you can push it. If you're looking in Seif Kufnun Beis, the Mishnah Berurah, Doichen Oisa B'Yadayim. So Mishnah Berurah says over here, Filim Ein L'Tzarcha Kadei La'Achila. Even though you're not doing it for the animal, so there's no Tzar B'L'chaim over here, it's still mutter, Elul Tayalasoi, for your own Tayalas, for your own gain, Kadei Shlo Yavor L'Dei Hefsid, you shouldn't lose it. Still, Hefsid Mamoin, going to Baruchim and Abayis, L'Chutz, you're allowed to do it. Why? So Mishnah Berurah is saying over here is that when you're pushing it, the chiyah is not even a tiltal min hatzad. We said tiltal min hatzad is only mutter. Not tiltal min hatzad. Tiltal b'mixas is only mutter when there's tzar b'lechayim. Says by chickens, you can't go ahead and you can't do tiltal b'miktzas, because you end up doing the whole thing. What do? Push it. That pushing, says the Mishnah Berurah over here, is not even a tiltal b'miktzas. Pushing an animal from behind is not called tiltal b'miktzas. Therefore, it's mutter when there's a hefsid mammon. If you're going to lose it, you're allowed to push it. So the same thing will be with regular animals. If it's not tzar b'lechayim, but there's a hefsid mammon, you're scared you're going to lose the animal, you're allowed to push it from behind to make it go somewhere. So this Doichen Oisim B'Yadayim, Doichen Oisim B'Yadayim, is not a tiltal b'miktzas, it's a heter, it's not tiltal b'chlal. Fine, so let's see now the Magen Avraham over here. It says the Magen Avraham Sivkon Samach Zayin. It says in the Mechaber that you're allowed to shlep them, medaden oisam, you're allowed to pull them, b'chotzer in a chotzer. Says the Magen Avraham, Sivkan Samach Zayin, B'chotzer, Avol B'Reshus Rabim Oser. The Reshus Rabim now let it be medaded, now let it pull it. The Gazminan Shema Yagbiheim. B'choshen, maybe you'll lift it. V'yischayev, Eya B'chayev. L'gav B'heimo, L'yaminan Chai Noises Atzmoi. Now, what does Chai Noises Atzmoi mean? There's a cloud we have in Shas that a person, Chai Noises Atzma, means a person carries himself. A person could carry himself. So if you take a human being, a person, and you carry him in a Reshus HaRabim, the halacha is you're not Chayiv Mid'Oraisa. Mid'Rabbanan you're Chayiv. Mid'Oraisa you're not Chayiv. Why are you Chayiv Mid'Oraisa? Because Chai Noises Atzma, a living person, carries himself. So you're Chayiv when you carry something out into Reshus HaRabim, Haitzah. When you carry a human being in the Reshus HaRabim, there's no Eitzah. You're not carrying him, he's carrying himself. That's the halacha. Chaim now says atzmai.
And
you find, there's something called dead weight, right? The person dies is heavier. So it's called dead weight. Why is that? Because there's no chaim now says atzmai. I remember we were in yeshiva, we used to do a trick. This proved Chai Noises Atzmai. was you take a person, sit him on a chair, and 4 people will take their fingers like this, 2 under his arms and 2 under his knees, and try to lift the person. And it won't go. It's every person, you can't lift him, just 4 people like this. But what we did was afterwards, everyone would pile their hands up one on top of the next, and then take it down, and the person would feel like it's going up, and then try it, and the person would be lifted up easily. Try it once. See if it works. We used to do it in Cheder all the time. A person, if in his mind he's lifting himself up, he's much lighter. Whether it's scientifically proven or not, here you have it. In such a case, you have it. So something called chayin noises, as a person is carrying himself, therefore you're not chayin. By an animal, we don't say chayin noises atzmai. The question is why? One of the reasons the Rishonim say is because an animal doesn't want to be lifted, therefore he always pushes himself downwards. So he's not lifting himself. The opposite, he's fighting you not to be lifted. So therefore there's no chayin noises atzmai by an animal. So machlokes in the Gemara, we paskin that by an animal there's no chayin noises atzmai. We'll see later on by the Adam there is, and that's why it's not for minutes b'negei a child. But b'negei an animal, no chayin noises atzmai, and therefore, if you're going to schlep an animal in a Rishus Harabim, with ski demand of lifting the animal, therefore in Rishus Harabim, it's also to schlep an animal because you may end up lifting him, and then you're over in Issa D'Oraisa. If you lift an animal with Rishus Harabim, you're over in Issa D'Oraisa. So, says the Magen Avraham, but Rishus Harabim, it's also the Gzeir Hashem Yagbiyim Yischayvim L'Gavahema L'Amina Chayin Noises Atzmai. Now, how about a Carmelus? A Carmelus was only Issa D'Rabbanan. What's the halacha? We'll get to that soon. We'll see it in the Mishnah Berurah. But here, from the Magen Avraham, it says Rishus Harabim Aser. It's mashal from the Magen Avraham. How about in the Carmelus, which is most of our places today, where there's no Eruv? It's a Carmelus. Are you allowed to schlep an animal? From the Magen Avraham, it's mashal you're allowed to.
Right.
So this would be a shadow of walking a dog. You schlep the dog on a leash. If you're in a Carmelus, which is most of our places, if you have an Eruv, it's no problem. There'll be a problem only of tiltal. But you now lift it up. For that, we have to be the wicked Gzeira. How about a Carmelus? We'll see in a second.
But he's carrying the leash, no?
He's carrying the leash, yeah. Anyway, he's carrying the leash. So it has to be
big dog.
It has to be an Eruv place, right?
Pull you, not you pull the dog.
Yeah, if you have
Big
a leash,
dog want to run.
if you have a leash, it's a problem. Because how are you carrying the leash? Yeah, that's what I mean.
Can you say it was bottle to the animal?
And bottle for animal, you're allowed to carry it? The animal's carrying it, you're saying? Leash.
Leash is an extension of the behemoth.
It's called the animal's carrying it? Could be. Sivkon Samaches. Im Tzrichim B'fnei Betzav Alachayim. Im Loikein. Geshem She'asa Kuloi. Very important, Magen Avraham. The same way it's also to carry the whole thing. Kach also Nataltal Miktsasoi. You're now allowed to carry even part of it. Whereas the cost of Siman Shin Yud Aleph. So that's why you're not allowed to schlep an animal, because you may end up, because your metaltal miktsasa is awesome. Sifkan samach tes, mifnei shemakbaz, picks itself up, and Rambam kosav, shehi nishmetes min hayad, v'nimtzas agfer netloshim. It's jumping away from you, and you end up pulling out, it's agfer, it's the feathers from it. Because of Raivid Zatam Eila, it's not true. The nearly shekavanasai to have a double she'enim eschavim. By pulling out the feathers, you're enim eschavim. It's not a psikresh, obviously. You're enim eschavim, and it's mutter. Tarkasa b'sim b'tav sadiches, if you'd base, the mutter limshay chatzemer eilech v'eilech. You're allowed to pull the reshechting on yomtiv. You're allowed to push away the wool from the animal, even though you may end up pulling out some of the wool on yomtiv. It's enim eschavim, and it's mutter. Ayin shama b'gemara b'gam mutter locho for the fasis b'yad. You're allowed to comb your hair with your hands. So the Magen Avraham doesn't like the Nasa Rambam, because the Rambam says the reason why you can't schlep chickens is because you may end up pulling out the hair. the feathers. So he says that any mischaven and it's mutter. The reason why you cannot pull a chicken is because it jumps up in your hand and you end up carrying it. It's a tiltal muktzah. Fine. Now let's see the Mishnah over here. See cotton kuf mem tes. So we have to keep cheshbon here because Mishnah has over here a few different halachas has mitzvah for them to make a kula. So we have two problems over here. We have one problem of tiltal muktzah. When you're schlepping an animal, there's a problem of tiltal muktzah. So when you schlep an animal, you're scared it may jump into your hand. A chicken is awesome. If it's not going to jump into your hand, a regular animal, you're allowed to schlep it. And when, if it's tzar balachayim, if there's a problem of tzar balachayim,
Tzar balachayim midiraisa midirabbanan.
it's machlokes in the Gemara. It's the right, because we have a pasuk for it. Machlokes in the Gemara, but I think it is.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. But
I think the Gemara comes out that it's the Rabbanim because the halacha is that you leave the animal inside and you have to bring pillows. And
So the Rabbanim, I don't know how the Gemara comes
the
out.
animal falls into the pit.
It's definitely trying to hold it
And
to the
you
right.
can't take it out.
Can't take it out, yeah,
So,
yeah.
So you bring pillows, you put the pillows inside.
So the Rabbanim, because we the Raisa,
Otherwise, with the rice, you should have been able to take it out.
because only said the Rabbanim that's to take it out, Muktzah. Yeah. I don't remember offhand. I know that definitely showed the Lord the Raisa.
It's machla, yeah. But
They answered that Gemara.
But that's we come out. I think that we said this morning. The psak is that we can't even if the animal.
Yeah, you don't take it out. We definitely don't take it out. Yeah.
But if it was tzar
But the
balachayim,
question is if there's a right from there, tzar balachayim is with the Rabbanim.
that's the sugi there.
Yeah.
I think the cases there, the animal falls into the pit.
Right,
And
yeah.
halachas, you have to bring.
But you can't take it out. Yeah. So the Mishnah Berurah says over here, Kol b'hem echayev ha'oif, says the Mishnah Berurah, Bein gedolim, bein ketanim. Seif the big and Seif the small. Now what does that mean? An animal that's very big, there's no chash
You can pick it up.
that you can pick it up. Right? So, at muktzah, you have an issue. You can't pull it. It says in the Mechaber that you're only allowed to do it b'chotzer. Kol b'hem echayev ha'oif dadan oisam b'chotzer. Because it's tzar balachayim. Now for the muktzah part, he said, even though you're being metaltal miktsasa, you're being metaltal part of it, which is asur, for tzar balachayim it's mutter. But it says only b'chotzer you're allowed to do it. Why can't you do it in the Rishus Rabbim? Because in the Rishus Rabbim was scared, you may end up picking it up. That's an Issa Deraisa in the Rishus Rabbim. Picking it up in a chotzer is only an Issa Derabanan. So a matter b'chot of tzar balachayim, but matter you to schlep it, which is tiltal b'miktas, and even though you may pick it up, we'll also matter it because we don't make the gzeira because it's only an issa d'Rabbanan. But in the Rishus Rabbim, we don't let you schlep it because you may end up picking it up. Says the
But again, not a big animal.
Even though it's a big animal, and a big animal, why can't I schlep it in the Rishus Rabbim? What are you worried about? You're going to pick it up? You can't pick up a big animal, it's a huge animal. If I slap a cow in a Rishus Rabbim, you can pick it up. There's no chash you can pick it up. So why is it asur in the Rishus Rabbim? It's only mutter b'chotzer. That means the isser muktzah you're allowed to do. Because it's tzar balachayim, you're allowed to slap it. Why dafka in the chotzer? Because you may pick it up by a big animal, there's no chash. So if we look in the Sharet C and see if cotton Kuf Chaf. After around Sfirulei, the Gedolim Mutter Ladadadam, a full of Rishus Rabbim, Farkosav Beis Yosef, with the Sosmei Arambam, Va'atur, Mashmad Latzfir L'chayim, L'chay Sosam Gamkein, Par L'hachmer, L'chaymash Primigodim. The Ran says that you're not schlep big animals even in Rishus Rabbim. You're not worthy to pick them up. But the other Rishonim argue, the Rambam, the Tur, they say Loi Plug. Once we asked it to schlep animals, Loi Plug, we didn't make a difference between big ones and small ones. We asked it all ones, even though all animals, even though by big animals there's no real chashash, still we asked it. So the Mishnah Berurah comes out in the Ma'aseh of the Chumrah that you can't schlep a big animal, even a big animal, in the Rishus Rabbim. And then he says, "B'chotzer, aval Rishus Rabbim the Gazmir Shem Yigviyim, the Aviyim Dal Ramas v'Yischayim Chatas, the Gabehem Lo Amid Chanayos Asatzmai, v'Ayim Betur, the Sfirulei, the Bekarmelis Nami Aser The dada is k'may b'shus rabim. Even in a carmelis, you're not allowed to schlep an animal.
But the carmelis is sometimes almost like they're not shus rabim.
Yeah. So therefore they made a gzeira. Geen pasach alavush, aloki v'seisiv shemitzad l'hakol b'zeh. So Mishnah Berurah is in a shaila if you're allowed to schlep an animal in a carmelis. Let's say a leash is not a problem. Let's say a leash is like a bottle to the behema, and there's no problem of carrying the leash. Are you allowed to walk a dog in the carmelis? There's no place where there's no erev. So what are you doing? You're schlepping the animal off. Anytime you walk a dog, it pulls one way, you pull the other way. So it's a problem in a carmelis. And the Mishnah Berurah paskins that in a carmelis, in a place where there's no erev, it's also to schlep an animal. Only b'chatzor. Only in a place where it's in your chatzor or it has an erev.
But the reason that it's also is because you might come to pick it up.
Pick it up. Nothing to do with muktzah. Muktzah is not a problem. Muktzah, we said, the muktzah problem, if it's taltal miktsasai, you're schlepping it, but matir because it's tzar balachayim, and we don't make a gzeira that you may pick it up. We don't make that gzeira. Because picking it up you're not allowed to do.
Right.
But for Benegei Muktzah will make it because it's tzar balachayim. Benegei Isser Carmelis, the Mishnah Berurah says a machmir. Al Tzaitzah, picking it up in a Carmelis, Mishnah Berurah says it's also. U'Makamakam he says, Nira de ba'agolim gedolim, mutar l'dados b'Carmelis ayim b'ran, shehuva b'es Yosef. So he says, but by big animals, where the whole issue is only a slight plug, then we'll matter in a carmelis, they're allowed to schlep them in a carmelis, even though the chash may, look, because there's no chash, they're going to pick it up. So to make a quick sikkum of this Seif, basically what we have here is, in the gay of the Isser Muktzah, we say you're allowed to schlep an animal, besides chickens, or any animal, like a chicken that's going to automatically jump up. If you schlep little animals that are going to jump up, it'll be the same Isser. Any animals that are going to jump up, when you schlep them, you end up carrying them, it's Asr. An animal that's not going to jump up, like a dog, let's say, you're pulling it, it's mutter to metalto miktsase only for tsar balachayim, not for any other reason. If you want to play with it, it's Asr. You're not allowed to play with dogs on Shabbos. Especially since you come to lift them a lot of times, it's Asr. To play with dogs on Shabbos is also because it's being metalto miktsase, and it's not tsar balachayim. So here we have that schlepping it into Rishus Rabim is also because you may end up carrying it. In a Carmelis, we're also machmir. They're not allowed to do it because you may end up carrying it in a Carmelis. Gedolim, big animal, was no chash to pick it up. In a Rishus Rabim, we're going to aser. In a Carmelis, we're going to be mat. That's basically the Seif mem.
Yeah, unless it's a flying dog.
Yeah.
Flying dog.
And the reason why there's a difference between
Flying camel, they have in
animals,
Gemara, but they never see flying dog. Usually camel fly.
Only because of deraisa and deraisa.
Correct.
If it's a deraisa, and low plug, right.
But it's a Carmelis, the Mishnah Berurah, it's been tzarif, the two things that he says, you can do it in a Carmelis.
It's interesting that it's actually a little bit subjective, because what's big to one person might not be so big to another person.
There's one song that's
like a big cow, obviously, it's big to everybody.
Right.
But what about a
dog,
cow, or a really big dog?
Yeah, a big dog, yeah.
Like a calf, you know?
Right.
Like a calf. It gets to a point at some time where you can't lift it.
You can't
But
lift
when
it.
it's little, you could lift it. Most people could lift it. You
But
know?
so,
You have to, it's a bit subjective.
you have some of those dogs that people don't lift, they're too big.
Yeah, sure.
So in a Carmelis, they'll be mutter. In a Rishus Rabim, will be also. Yeah. It's a common problem, not sure why people are so make all this with animals.
Well, in Toronto, where you hold by the Arabs, so it makes it. I mean, but playing, you say maybe
Playing, it's not playing.
Yeah. Walking your dog, doesn't.
Yeah, walking a dog is not a problem.
Yeah.
If you have an area here. But playing with animals, if people have pets in the house and they let them out of the cage and they pick them out and put them back in the cage, birds, all these things are all muktzah. There's no heter. Unless tzar v'l'chaim, it's mutter to do a tiltal b'miktzas only. And wasn't that not? Fish, all these things are also. Talk about an aquarium, you have to shayla. There's some people make like.
But what you can do with the aquarium? Just look at
move the whole. It's not an aquarium. The question is more when you have when the kids come home a lot of times with goldfish and put them in a little container, right? So then you want to move the container. You're allowed to move the container. The fish is inside. The fish is muktzah. So you're allowed to move the whole container. That's where the shayla comes up. They're speaking about aquarium. That's what
it says, he brings a source of shulchan. Shabbat b'shashal katul esadagi b'fnei atzmum and come up and move with katul.
The whole thing you can be with talpa.
Aquarium, royal b'davar asu l'noigu.
You're allowed to carry the whole aquarium.
Yeah.
The question is why? So it doesn't become a bosses to the fish. They speak about it. The person speak about it. So aquarium is not such a shayla. The real shayla is when you have.
It's a decoration, isn't it?
Yeah, but with the fish is muktzah.
The fish, but
the aquarium itself is not. Tiltum and atzad. It's called tiltum and atzad. The main question is, if kids come home with goldfish and they put them in containers, are you allowed to move the containers or not? That's a very common shayla. So if you hold an aquarium as mutter, the same thing should be with the goldfish in the container. It should be mutter to move it. But to move the fish by itself, everyone agrees it's also.
Yeah.
Yeah, to move an animal by itself is also. The same thing would be, are you allowed to move the whole cage with the animal in it?
the kivra.
The whole cage?
No, it's a kivra, no, by bees.
Yeah,
When,
kiveres, yeah. You're allowed to move the whole thing. You have a cage with an animal inside. You want to move it. That would be the same question as the aquarium.
No, because his rationale for the aquarium is it's because the aquarium is something nice to look at.
Even birds in a cage is annoying.
Yeah, birds in a cage is the same thing.
What?
Birds in a cage might be the same thing.
Yeah, it's annoying.
But,
Keep it for noise. Don't keep it for.
hamster in a cage would be the same thing.
Yeah,
But a bird in a cage is
maybe the same thing. It's things are hard to pass.
It's subjective.
You know, what's called noy, what's not called noy. You should be careful with moving animals.
Don't have an animal, so that's it. Good have to live
Says the Mechaber Seif Mem Aleph. Ha'isha b'dada espina, a lady is allowed to schlep her son, afilu b'shus rabim, even in b'shus rabim, u'lavash lo tegaru, you shouldn't schlep them. So what's the chiluk?
when he keeps his feet on the
Eli
ground.
magbiya ragloi achas v'yaniach hashniya al haaretz v'yishin aleh asher yachzer v'yaniach ragloi she'gbiya she'nimtza l'oilam u'nishan al ragloi achas. There's two things here. One thing is, we're not talking about lifting a child in a Shus Rabim. Right? Kids obviously are not muktzah, so in the chotzer there's no problems. Different than animals, but animals in the chotzer is muktzah, kids Baruch Hashem are not muktzah. Kids you can pick up, you can move them whenever you want. The only shayla is in the Shus Rabim. Yeah, we'll get the Chanai Satzah. So there's no Issa muktzah here, here's only Issa Veitzah. So the halacha is that Chai Noi says Hatzmoi, or living, we said before, carries himself. So therefore, even though by an animal we said that mitzad ha'itza parcha boy, forget about the muktzah, you're not allowed to be medadet b'shus rabim because you may end up lifting it. But by a child, even if you lift it, it's only an issa d'rabbanon. Chai no says atzmai. So therefore, even in b'shus rabim, medada espina. Medada means
one regel on the
medada means you're not schlepping the kid. No. Schlepp the kid is awesome. Yeah, let's take the kid by the hand and schlep the kid, and the kid's feet are dragging on the floor. That's awesome. We'll see why in a second. But if the kids are anyway, now I'll do it.
1 foot. But
if the kid is walking, and what's happening is the kid's leaning on the mother for support, that's mutter. That's called medada. It's a big difference. The kid has to be walking 1 foot after the next, putting down on the ground. If the kid is not walking, it's awesome. The kid's allowed to lean on the mother. And we're not choishish that you pick up the kid, because even if you do, it's only Issa D'Rabbanan. But the schlepper kid, that's already awesome. Now let's see the reasoning behind this. Says the Magen Avram, Ayin, Afilu b'shus rabim, Ta'afilu tagmienu, even if you can pick up the child, part of the Chai Noise says Atzmai, but Vim Noise said Kafar Sechayla, Chayiv. So it says a different halacha. The whole din of Chai Noise says Atzmai is when a person is untied. If a person is tied, where we see this more later on, if a person is tied, there's no din of Chai Noise says Atzmai. Or if a person is sick and the person can't walk, also there's no din of Chai Noise says Atzmai.
Kafos means a tied up person?
Kafos means tied up. A person is tied up, so then the feet obviously, so the person can't walk themselves, so then it's called, there's no din of Chai Noise says Atzmai. Or if it's a chayla, the chayla can't walk. For example, a person in a wheelchair. A person in a wheelchair, there's no din of Chai Noise says Atzmai. So you want to say it's only Issa D'Rabbanan, you carry somebody, it's not, it's Issa D'Oraisa. So there's no Chai Noisei Es Atzmoi by a person who cannot walk. V'anoisei Meis, someone who carries a dead person, have Halacha Tzeichel Gufa, Ayetzim Eshayin Chet, there's a whole different Halacha. If you carry a mace out, it's called Halacha Tzeichel Gufa, and we'll get to that maybe. Yeah, we'll get to a different time, maybe why it's called Halacha Tzeichel Gufa.
But even though we say Chai Noisei Es Atzmoi, we still, on a practical level, one is.
Also with the Rabbanan. Yeah, it's also with the Rabbanan.
So you're using only the heter.
Only for heter, yeah. Only for heter of puts one foot up, one foot down.
So by a zokin, let's say, so Rabbi used the example of a wheelchair. What about a cane?
A person can walk with a cane.
Yeah. So is that considered Chai Noisei Es Atzmoi or not?
I don't know.
He's leaning. He's
He's like a baby leaning on the mother. He's leaning on the king.
Right, but he's walking with the cane.
The truth is, that's like, a child that's Medadas Benah, we're talking about a child that cannot walk. It can only do it by leaning on its mother.
yes.
Medadas Benah is not talking about a child that could walk as being Medadas, even a child that can't walk. The only way it could walk is by leaning on its mother, its mother. So it could be said to be with a cane.
Okay.
A person could put down one foot, another foot, not a chami, then it's called.
It's similar to
Yeah.
Goisha.
I would say
very similar
that's
to
the
a Disho.
But isn't that
When the old man is leaning on a
Standing as a kid
But you're saying the mother can support the child. The child,
can walk by itself.
yeah, but it's not going to be chayav for anything anyway because it's a child. When the old man's walking, he's chayav himself.
Who's chayiv?
If a kid would carry something, it wouldn't make a difference.
Yeah, no. The problem said you can pick up the
You're
child.
carrying the child, yes.
No. The old man to walk by himself is not a problem with the cane. Child, could you carry such a person?
Right.
Could you carry that person? That's a child. So we see over here that Ish Medada is Benah, the child cannot walk without the support of the mother, and still it's not a problem. So the same thing with the old man. Then if you would pick up the old man, it won't be Isidaraisa, it would be Isidarabana.
Is there any deal to be made by the lashon of ha'isha medari resbana as compared to husband?
Yeah, to make a deal that the father should never take care of the kids.
What about he says ha'isha and bana? What about a woman and somebody else's children?
The same thing.
There's no
Same thing. No, it's derech. Yeah.
Fathers didn't get involved.
Yeah. Fathers didn't take care of the kids in those days.
Until he was a bucker who could learn Shabbos.
What the father doing there anyway? He should be less deal.
Children.
No, that's how it happened.
What?
That's not when it changed.
Oh.
It changed when it became woman's lib.
I thought that until the child is, coming to shul and you're going to be dealing with it, this is a young child still.
Only the mother took care of it.
Correct. So the mother took
Only the mother took care of it, yeah.
Once it became an older child, then, you had an interest in the child.
Well, the father had interest. Let's see Sifkan Ein Alpha Organ of Ram. Fotagaru. Ifnei Shenesas. Ram. Mashma the sphere laid the Havakim me Shenoisai. Vim can a full of a carmelus ulcer. So when you schlep a kid, the kid's feet are on the ground, and you're schlepping the child. What's the Isser? So the Moran says the Isser is because when you're schlepping the child, it's as if you're carrying the child. Just because its feet is on the ground, it doesn't mean anything. Schlepping a child with its feet dragging on the floor is regular haitzah. Not even Isser D'Rabbanan. It's a regular carry. If the kid is picking one foot up, putting down the next foot, so the kid is walking, I'm just helping the kid walk. But if I'm schlepping the kid, says the Ran, we'll see if it's Ran or Rashi, we'll see in a second, says the Ran, that you're not allowed to do it. You know why? Because it's a regular haitzah. Not it's a derabbanan, it's a deraisa. And therefore, in a carmelis it will also be asa. If it will be a derabbanan, maybe in a carmelis it will be matter. Because it is a derabbanan and a carmelis could be bimatter. But since he's saying it's a deraisa, it's a regular haitzah, schlepping a child is a regular haitzah, it's also even in a carmelis.
But it's interesting because haitzah by definition is akira and hanocha. And akira means picking up whatever it is, a certain daladamas, or not daladamas.
Gimel Tvachim,
right? So when you're dragging a kid, you're not. There is no gimel tefachim.
Yeah, but are you allowed to drag a package on the floor on Shabbos? The akira is even. Yeah, according to you. According to
I mean, the obvious the answer is no, but I'm thinking why? Because where's the akira?
Yeah, I hear Shiloh. It could be akira. You need to be more than 3 tefachim in order to make an akira.
Yeah.
The moment the mother takes the hand,
I don't know if you have
it's
to.
already the akira. The moment
No,
the
when you're stopping, when the kid stops, the kid moves. It's an akira. When it stops, it's an anacha. You want to stop 3 tefachim off the ground.
Right.
I don't know if you need 3 tefachim akira anacha.
But you did.
You don't need 3 tefachim akira anacha. It's not higher than it's tefachim tur.
No,
Yeah.
that's a different thing.
That's something else.
I thought you needed.
In order for it to be chayav haitzah, you'd have to be higher than 3 tefachim.
In other words, I was saying Shadna Akira.
You don't have to. Because a person walks, right? He's carrying something. He's making a kira anacha. And what's that kira? Kira is your feet. The anacha is when you stop. You're not taking 3 tefachim off the ground. You don't have to have 3 tefachim. The question is why. There are times you see them. It's not anacha with 3 tefachim. It's not called anacha.
Right.
Find that way. I don't know. You're definitely chayav akira anacha, even though you didn't lift the 3 tefachim off the ground. It's more the beginning of Shabbos over there. That's beginning of Dalet. I have to check it out. I'll check it out. We don't have that. So you definitely. So you saw the chayav.
The bir aloch.
We'll get to it
later on. It says that the grira ain't also element of.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there in a second. Yeah, we'll get there in a second. We'll get to the Be'alach in a second. Yeah.
Sorry.
The Magen Avram says that the Ram says it's the Issa D'Oraisa, and therefore even a Karmel is a Sasser. Ayin Sasser Shimon Ches v'Kula Alma the Cotton Kol Kach Shetzarech L'Galeroi Im Noisei Chayev Chatas. A cotton that's so little that he can't walk 1 foot after the next. The only way to do it is to slap him. So then, if you pick him up, you Chayev Chatas is an Issa D'Oraisa. There's no Chayev Noisei Satzmai. So the only time there is no Issa D'Oraisa of Chayev Noisei Satzmai is when the person can walk himself. If the Balamor says a chiddush that even a kid that picks up 1 foot and puts down the next foot, if you pick him up, there's no chayav noisei satzmai. But if he's doing that, you're not carrying him, then the Rebbeinu didn't make a gzeira. Same halacha, but different reasoning. But definitely a kid that you're schlepping him, everyone agrees there's a problem, there's no chayav noisei satzmai.
But we have an Erev.
If you have Erev, it's no problem. Yeah.
But usually the observant Jews, they know it's an Erev or not.
Yeah, if you have an area, okay.
And those who doesn't care in any way.
Yeah, no, places we don't have areas.
You go to a community that doesn't have an area.
A lot of communities don't have
You
areas.
don't carry kids. Okay.
Not all communities have areas. So the Magen Avram finishes off here, a very important halacha to know. Hamoitzi tinai, someone who carries out a tinai, the kiss told b'tzavoroi, and you have a kiss, let's say a pocket, whatever,
something
happens with the kameya inside. Kids carrying something. Chayev, Yechayev on the kiss. That means you carry out a tinoik, a kid, Chayev noisei satzmai.
That's not a problem.
It's not a problem. You're potter. But if the kid is wearing something around the neck, Yechayev for carrying out the necklace.
Yeah.
But Hamoitzi Godol, Hamalubish Mikhailov, someone who carries out a Godol wearing his clothing, potter. And what's the reason for that? The reason for that is because a person's clothing is bottled to the person. So you're not chayav on the person, you're not chayav on his clothing. But something that's not bottled to the person, a kiss told him it's avarai, the halacha is a chayav on the kiss.
This is adult as well.
Adult also. The adult has a kiss around his neck. Same thing.
So the woman wears jewelry.
Jewelry is not bottled to the person.
And the child with his clothes also, it's the same thing.
Child with clothes, bottled for the clothes, yeah. This is a child with a leash. Is the leash bottled to the dog? So there's no chiyuv haitzah on it, or not? So the leash is bottled to the dog, it's mishtam with the dog, then you're not chayav on the leash. If it's like a kiss, then you're chayav on carrying the leash.
So clothes of a dog. A lot of people put a little sweater on a dog if it's cold, or
Yeah, but
booties.
but the problem with the dog itself, you can't carry because chayav doesn't touch much.
Cannot pick it up.
Uh-huh.
You can't pick up the dog.
So
Yeah,
what
the
would you do
leash.
on the clothes?
Yeah.
But we saw before that if you pick up an article, let's say you pick up the child and he's holding a hammer, we saw before that would be mutter.
Egos.
What?
An egos maybe. Is it mutter? No, it's not mutter.
Or you can pick up you pick up something that's dover
Yeah.
on something which is a dover mutter, right?
We'll see in a second. So there's a whole.
What about if it's mutter for certain people, like a kameya?
It's not bottle, so you may carry yourself for other reasons. It's bottle because it's taksha, you're allowed to wear it. But it's not bottle to the child. We'll see in the next segment the whole thing about Evan Biyada and there's Geguim. We'll see this.
We saw
We'll see.
Evan Biyada, right?
Yeah, but that's not what I saw. That's in the Chasr. Right? Evan Biyada is in the Chasr. The question is Muktzah. We're talking about Itzah Hitzah here.
Right.
Sutta Mishara say.
So there, Evan Biyada.
It's not tiltal but Geya. Not tiltal but Geya Muktzah. How was Muktzah? Here's the power of Hitzah. We'll see the Chut in Hitzah and Muktzah.
Right.
Fine, so that's a Magen Avraham. Now it's very important, Mr. Brewer, to see over here. First of all, the Shalot Geru, you're not allowed to schlep it. And the reason why you're not allowed to schlep it, the Magen Avraham brought down B'Shem Duran, is because schlepping it is carrying. Now if you look in the Bi'alach over here, Shalot Geru, I be Mr. Brewer, Shakasafti B'Yurai. You see the Bi'alach, the first one on page 220. Shalot Garu. I be Mr. Brewer, Shakasafti B'Yurai. B'Fnei Shenoisa, you're carrying it. Kain Kos of Rashi. That's what Rashi writes. Va'af, Ta'mogen Avram, Kos of Zebashem Aran. Hine Afshe Aran, Kos of Kain. Mishnah de V'Rashi Mekamokam En Hechrech. Sharan Gufa Yizbar Kain. This is a klal. I learned this klal when I was in Mesivta. When I was in Mesmerish, I'm from Rosh Hashiva. It's a klal that Rashi, the Ran, in the back of the Gemara, is a Pirush Aran.
Right.
Now, if you look at the Pirush Aran, he writes first. He quotes a lot from Rashi, very like Rashi's Tzura, the Vermasko with a Pirush, and then he has his lot of long shtiklach. He goes through the sugya. So those in the beginning, that's the Divrei HaMaschal and the Pirush, those basically he got from Rashi. And most of the times he quotes Rashi, and even though he himself doesn't hold like Rashi, he argues in Rashi, and the next article later on he'll argue in Rashi. You can't ask a stira from the Ran onto the Ran. Because what he writes in the beginning, he's basically quoting Rashi. So the Magen Avraham says over here, I learned that the hard way. I once got that big family in Rosh Hashiva, and he said a pshat in the Ran. I said, Ran can't hold it. The Ran says, not like that. On the Mishnah. And he said to me, you don't know the klal? That you can't bring a rye from the Ran on the Mishnah, because the Ran on the Mishnah is quoting Rashi. And that's what the Bi'alach is saying over here. Even though the Magen Avraham says it's the Ran, it's not really the Ran, it's Rashi, because anything that the Ran brings down in those little, in the Pirush, is Rashi. And he brings the Ran and he says, because the Ran himself later on says that it's not a deraisa, it's only a derabbanan. Over Prat, it says, Shemerag Gufa b'derei maschal aval, im ha'yigoyrir, mashmer dehu ba'atzmai seivir, the begreira einei asa ela midrabanan. Greater is only asa midrabanan. So he brings down, and then the whole long Bi'alach, if we have time to see it, just go through it. He says that this thing is schlepping a child, schlepping something, is a machlokes if it's an issa deraisa or derabanan. Rashi holds it's called you carrying him, it's called you carrying the child, and it's issa deraisa. The Ran holds it's only an issa derabanan. And therefore it comes out sometimes with kulitz and the carmelis. If you want to schlep a child, maybe it's mutter. Yeah. Which comes up a lot in a place where you don't have an Erev, and you have a kid, you're walking with the kid someplace, and the kid refuses to walk any further. So what do? You're stuck now. So if you have an Erev, you're fine. If it's just Rabbim, it's definitely also. How about if you're in a carmelis? You're in a place where it's a carmelit, and you wanted to schlep the kid home. Are you allowed to do it or not? So the Master Mishmur comes after the whole thing, he comes out of the Chumrah. They should machmer even in the carmelit not to schlep a child, even though you're doing it for the child. You can't leave the child in the middle of a place. Still, it's also. It's better to tell a guy to do it for you. Which did you have a heter?
The heter being?
A guy doing it. Shvus.
Because you don't choose.
Shvus for a child. Shvus to shvus, it's in the carmelis. Okay, let's look at the Mishmur over here. Kufnun Daled. Shloite Garu. B'fnei Shenoisai. Kechos of Rashi. Mashma Sfira the Havak My Shenoisai. V'im can afila b'karmelis aser. V'yeshem akila b'zeh. Some people are mekel. V'yeshem akilim is the Ran himself. Avalisa Isal Seif Gam b'karmelis aser l'kuli alma. To carry a child.
You can only medad it.
Only medad it, yeah. And even if you could schlep the child, the Ran's mekel, that's only to schlep the child. But to carry a child on your shoulders, even in the carmelis is also the kuli alma. V'yesh mehamoin. Shalom is there. Shenoisim ketanim al kasfeyim v'tu'usamhu v'neshakadon yachal lerech ba'atzmoi. They think since the kid could walk himself, therefore he could do it. The shkogi, it's a mistake. The issa de rabbanon yesh b'chol oifin afilu be'karmelis. U'makamokoim toiv l'mnoyam aloyim alhem shmevada la'yishmu lanu u'mutav sheyu shegiv al yimazidim.
And what about
It's interesting. How far do you take that? I mean, then, anytime you think they're not going to listen, then we always say mutav.
That's the whole shayla. If you know for sure they're not going to listen, you say mutav sheyu shegiv al yimazidim. If it's sad, they're going to listen. Then
It's better that they will think that it's okay and let them carry it. Then now that they know that it's not, and now they'll do
what
it.
you're doing. And it's all people who don't know. You're doing them, they're showing you, they don't know. Not that you know them mezidim. If you know them mezidim, you're mechuyev to be moicha. Try to stop them. If you see someone doing something, they know he knows it's aser, and he's doing it anyway. Someone's talking about Kaddish, right? Everyone knows it's aser to speak out about Kaddish. No, that's shaykh mezidim. People say, don't tell them that they want to shaykh ayim mezidim. The people know you're not allowed to talk out. They're talking anyway. So you don't have the heter. I mean, there's a different klal. Don't say something they're not going to listen anyway, so why get the fight with the person? That may be a different klal. You have to know when you say that klal. But shaykh ayim mezidim was, people think that it's mutter. And if you're going to tell them, they're not going to listen to you anyway, then don't say anything. But if you tell them there's a chashash that's not listening to you, then you have to tell them.
So when the child doesn't want to walk, if two people carry the child?
Better take a guy. He says over here, if you look at the next few lines of Mishnah Berurah here, the Kodesh and Yachal Lerech ba'atzmoi klal chayav l'apetz mishnesim b'shazirabim yichayim d'raisa ba'ayidei ein Yehudi shari l'didah de'ein matzah etzleinu b'shazirabim. So Mishnah Berurah here says that through a guy, it's mutter. Even a kid that can't walk by himself.
You give it to
because the shvus in
baby carries.
Yeah, baby. So the shvus in the case of a drabanon, it's right. The guy is carrying it in the carmelis. So Mishmur says over here that it's mutter. The problem is Mishmur says in other places they're not allowed to carry it in a idei goy. By Bismillah he says you shouldn't bring the kid to shul. You should bring the Ismail to the kid.
Because there you have an option.
Because there you have an option, yeah. So they want to say because there you have an option, here you don't have an option. Here you don't have an option. So here, they say from over here, and this is Mishmur over here, that if your kid doesn't want to walk, he's stuck with him someplace, and he's stuck in the Rishus Rabbim, even in Rishus Rabbim, you're allowed to tell a guy to carry the child for you.
Is there a difference in terms of the din of noise, a high noise between a child who doesn't want to walk and a child who can't? In other words, there's a difference between taking a tinuk, an infant,
they cannot walk,
cannot physically walk, and then you have a 3-year-old or a 2-year-old who just plops himself on the sand and says, "I'm not going anywhere."
Yeah. So there's still a chai noise atzma.
So that's a chai noise atzma.
That's a chai noise atzma.
Why wouldn't that be like kafus? I mean, he's dead weight.
He doesn't want to.
He doesn't want to. It's no different
the question
than
is,
an elderly person who just they cannot.
Right. So the question is, by animal, one of the reasons they give chai noise atzma is they push back. So kid doesn't want.
Yeah. What about a baby that?
I don't know, maybe you're right.
No, I'm just wondering. Like,
Maybe you're right.
Is there a difference in the halacha between a 2-year-old who stops walking?
We don't find the halacha. The halacha is not mechalik by a kid.
1 second.
It's like we finished already.